There is a podcast no one asked for. A podcast you never knew you didn't want. 3 beers in. This is the podcast.
Man, it's just a beta. Experience.
Hi, everyone. You're listening to 3 Beers In. This is Ross, and tonight we have Clint.
Hello.
Joel, and Cutter.
Hey!
Hi. You've been here the whole time.
Yeah.
Thanks to the magic of editing.
Should have seen that way. And 2 special guests.
I'm Matt.
I'm Virginia.
Oh, wait. I'm Virginia
I'm Matt.
from the Beer Museum.
From the Beer Museum, yes. So tonight we're going to be drinking Py Jingo, a North by Northwest beer. It's a pale ale. Did you want to talk about the beer?
Sure. So
You made it.
I am a brewer at North by Northwest, the North location specifically. And this beer is one of our oldest recipes. Comes from right around when we started in 1999. And it's just a classic example of an American pale ale. Pretty bitter, but also piney and citrusy, very flavorful. A little bit of Carrot 20 malt in there to give it some color and additional flavor. This batch specifically, I transferred and carbonated today, so it's super fresh. This is as fresh as it gets.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I didn't plan it that way. It just worked out
Just
that way.
happened.
No, wait. Didn't you tell me at one point why it's called Py Jingo? What is Py Jingo?
It's an expression.
That nobody uses anymore, right?
Well,
Like,
I don't know.
have
about
y'all heard
nobody?
that
You guys
before?
don't say like Py Jingo.
No,
People
I
don't say Bazango now.
I heard Davis say it a lot when
Yeah.
we were talking to him. And this is one of his favorites, apparently.
Yeah, this is one of Davis's favorite beers. We can't mess with this recipe at all. It is what it is. So yeah, Py Jingo is an expression. I think it
Is
comes
it
from.
like by golly or something?
Yeah, it
I can
comes
see
from
that.
I think a movie. It might be Dances with Wolves or something like that.
Mm.
Oh.
and- yeah, like one of the Native Americans says like Py
Yeah.
Jingo.
Oh, okay. That's okay.
Something. I'm
Fair enough.
getting that completely wrong, and I should know more
Probably from
about it being
Waltzes
a
with
brewer there.
Foxes.
Well,
I think you should know more about it, being one of the curators of the Beer Museum. Actually.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to
Ooh.
have like an exhibit
Burn.
devoted specifically to Py Jingo Pale Ale and the
Py
origin.
Jingo Beer Museum is what
Yeah.
we're going to be.
Actually, yeah,
that's,
we
the,
should
only,
organize
that's the only beer.
Just
The whole
this
history
beer.
of Py Jingo.
We'll just have Davis there to talk
It's a
about
long
it.
history, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this will be my first taste of this
Yeah.
beer, so
Yeah, cool.
let me get into
I don't
this.
think you'll hate
I
it.
hope you don't throw up.
Okay. Yep. Definitely a pale ale.
Yeah.
Got the notes right there on the back end.
I wouldn't say it's super hoppy, though.
It's not. It's not overly hoppy, which is a good thing for me.
Yeah.
Nice.
Pale ale is typically not my cup of
yeah.
tea, especially
Anything
like
with hops.
anything with overly potent hops.
Gotcha.
Typically not. What we do? The plowshare
beer.
from
Yeah, the Saison
Ooh,
Plowshare from Strangeland Brewing.
Yeah.
Which I liked.
Yeah.
But,
No, it was
that
not
super
a.
hoppy?
It wasn't really.
I
I'm
didn't
sure
say it
most
was-
people
Are you
wouldn't
trying to say
consider
you
it.
didn't like the beer?
It was too hoppy for me,
You
is
did
what I'm
say-
trying to say.
I think you did
And
say that
yes,
a couple times.
that means I did not like the beer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm on the record as saying I do not like that beer.
Yeah,
so.
several times, I think. But, yeah. So,
Joel?
Joel, what do you
Oh, I think it's really. So I've had like 3 drinks already, sips already. I think it's really, really good.
Sweet.
It's really smooth. And like you said, it's not too overly hoppy. I'm kind of like the first guy who's always like, if you want to try something new when you're not willing to go into those directions, this would actually be a pretty good one to start out with if you're
Yeah,
into
yeah.
pale ales,
Yeah.
because it's not going to be too aggressive.
hmm
And I like it. It's really smooth.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty straightforward. It was inspired by Sierra Nevada Pale Ale and a bunch of those classic
Right.
ones back in the
Gotcha.
day.
So what's the ABV on this?
This one's right about 6%.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it a lot of more pine on the nose kind of stuff?
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. So Amarillo Cascade hops, which are very piney, citrusy, just kind of that old school Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely get it.
hmm
You didn't George Strait like Amarillo hops?
Only
By the
in the
morning?
morning. Yeah, by the
only-
morning. At night, he wasn't so sure about him,
Okay.
but by morning, he was pretty into him.
There you go.
They were always on his mind.
Good. You get references. You'll fit right in around here.
Only the-
Country references.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, no, I liked it. I actually don't listen to a whole lot of country, but I know that one because I took drum lessons years ago, and that was like one of the songs that I had to learn was Amarillo by Morning.
Okay.
Classic
To learn
drumming
that.
song.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. When you
it's got that real sweet solo right there.
yeah, when you think of drumming, you think of Amarillo by Morning.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right.
So, did you have something that you wanted to preface about the beer museum? Just discuss it, or
It's entirely about wine. I think the name is sort of a misnomer. So if you could only ask us wine questions, that would be the best.
So, what kind of grapes are your favorite wine grapes?
What kind does Welch's use?
Purple?
Concord?
No, I think theirs is actually the white grapes. So you've got it completely wrong. Yeah, I think it's Concord.
Yeah.
No, nothing we really want to preface with. Whatever you want to.
So, how did the beer museum get started? How did the idea come to you?
You want to go or me?
Sure.
This is what we usually have to figure out who's going to talk. And
just
like
look at
9
each other
times out of
awkwardly.
10, it's me. But let's
I'll
let
go.
this be the 10th time.
To make a long story short, Virginia and I met at UT Film School.
And that's it. Thanks.
That's it.
That's the
And then-
Good story.
Yeah.
Boom.
It's a really long story.
You met and beer museum.
Beer
It
museum.
exists.
Go ahead, sorry.
That's how it goes.
Jen is what we call her. And
Only because beer is not a nickname for Virginia, but
Yeah.
gin is. So
she was into beer. I was not. She introduced me. We both got into beer and started kind of collecting bottles and cans. Jen had already started a collection before we met, but we expanded on that and got really into it, and eventually got married. Blah blah blah. And
That's not the important stuff.
Next kid, whatever.
we had this whole bottle and can collection.
Of every beer that
we've
tried.
like
No
no
duplicates.
duplicates, just like the unique can or bottle. And we were trying to figure out what to do with it, and we're like, let's donate it to a beer museum. And we went online. This was several years ago, and I guess 3 or 4 years ago now, and we couldn't really find anything that we were comfortable donating it to, like no real beer museum. So we decided to start our own, and that's where the idea initially came from.
Yeah.
And from there, we have come up with more things to pile on top of that, like brewing historical styles and
The idea has evolved since then.
Yeah.
And we've got it, figured out, I think, fairly well. All we need is money to actually do it. But in the meantime, we started the mobile beer museum so that we can go pop up this like small modular beer museum at different breweries and bars and things, so that we can kind of get the word out and also sort of practice and do some market analysis and see like who's interested in it, what aspects of it are they interested in. And that way, when we actually are ready for a brick and mortar, hopefully the execution will be really well.
That's cool.
So
Perfect practice makes perfect.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
talking to the guys from Whitestone the other day,
yeah, we
and they
went out
had
there.
said, and they had mentioned that, but the brewer was not there that day that you guys were there, so he didn't have
One of the
anything.
owners was, I swear, he popped in, he looked at, because for every brewery that we go to, we try to feature one of their beers and do historical, like style history of it. And then we also try to do the history of that brewery itself. So I swear he popped in.
Yeah, that's-
He popped in,
he came by.
looked at their history, and was like, cool. So he might have seen it in a glimpse. But actually, not too many people visited the beer museum that day, because that was a day that a huge storm
Torrential
came
downpour.
through.
Oh.
And so, like, I don't know, we didn't get very many people coming back,
Yeah.
but it was still fun.
That's cool.
Like, we still drank a lot of beer.
Yeah.
That's what we
Well,
plan to do.
That's what's really important.
Yeah.
Drinking the beer.
And we get to call it research.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a secret to this whole thing, is we get free beer out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not always free, but we get beer.
Yeah, we like when that happens too.
Yeah.
We're actually going to go see the guys from Whitestone next month.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Nice.
I will try to try everything that they have.
Yeah,
Please do.
you should.
Yeah, that's what we
So,
do.
but we're not here to talk about Whitestone.
Oh, crap.
Yeah.
What were your goals when you started out? Did you have goals, or it was just an idea?
Yeah, well, the goal when we started out was, I don't know.
It's
Completely
evolved so
underdeveloped.
much.
It has.
Yeah.
The goal when we started out was like, let's move into a giant building and cram it full of beer stuff and talk to people about beer, which is still kind of the end game.
The end game, yeah.
Yeah, the mobile beer museum happening in the meantime was not at all part of the initial idea.
Yeah.
We were actually working with the city of Austin. They have a small business development program. I don't know if that's exactly the title, but it's something like that, small business program. And they have a person on staff with the city who, for free, you can make an appointment with them and they will give you business advice, basically. You go in and you kind of tell them your idea and they'll give you resources and stuff to use. So we had met a few years back with one of the representatives for the small business development program. And we had been meeting with him, not super regularly, but we'd had a few meetings, and we were trying to figure out, it's like, here's kind of what we want to do. And at that point, Matt wasn't in brewing. And so we were trying to figure out like if we could contract brew or something, because we were like, I don't know. Like neither of us were in the industry at that point. We didn't feel comfortable having the brewing portion lay in our side of things. So we were trying to figure this, that, and the other thing. And we were just going to like jump straight into a brick and mortar. And he was like, like y'all have already collected some cool artifacts. Y'all already know a lot of the history. Why don't y'all consider sort of taking this thing out on the road and testing it out on a smaller scale before you go straight into a large scale thing? So it was actually his idea, and we went forward with that. But end game is still to have a brick and mortar. We want it to be partially a museum, partially a brewery with a tasting room. And we're going to resurrect ancient and historic style beers so that as people go through the exhibits, they can taste what the beer would have tasted like at certain points in beer history.
Very cool.
I would like that a lot.
Good.
I
Yeah.
think that'd be awesome.
I'm a history nerd just as it is.
Are ya?
So that just sounds
Cool.
right up my alley.
So, Cutter, what were your thoughts on the beer?
No, I enjoy it. It's like, but nobody's surprised here.
Yeah.
They might be, but
No, they told us you would like
I
anything.
love beer just in general. No, it's very nice, light, refreshing. It's not really heavy. Some flavor notes if Clint wants some.
Yeah, let's hear the let's hear the flavor notes.
Let's see here. I'm getting some pine, so definitely some hops.
We don't can this beer, so I don't know where you got the
Yeah, right?
information from.
Yeah.
It's like you came up with them.
I knew the name of it. I did know the name of it. I assumed that's what we were still on when it was handed to me, because he's been raving about it we've been talking about it for a while.
I've just been saying that's what we're going to drink.
Yeah.
So you guys can look it up if
that's
you
Talking
like.
and raving on the same thing.
That's basically the same thing.
when
just-
when Ross talks, people listen because he doesn't say stuff.
Yeah, people that aren't.
But no, it's like this
Associated
is
with the
definitely
show.
enjoyable for sure.
Yeah.
So you said you've had the idea of the museum for a couple years.
For a few years now. Honestly, like the idea is probably about 5 years old. But actually putting something together and going around with the mobile setup, that is, we started doing that in August of
Almost 2 years ago.
2016. Yeah. And we've done quite a few events. It's been a lot of fun, and we've learned a lot too. We've also used that time, between the idea and now to both get into the industry as well.
Yeah.
And not even just the beer industry, but also try to figure out things on the museum side. I work for the State Preservation Board, which is in charge of the Capitol and also the Texas History Museum.
Wow.
No, okay.
And volunteer at the Austin Toy Museum, and
cool.
just make like nerdy museum friends and talk to them. So
Well, that's basically like you can utilize that experience to actually help get this thing off the ground and actually get yourself into a brick and mortar situation.
yeah, because
So-
it is a pretty like straightforward hybrid. It's going to be a brewery museum. So Matt went into the brewery side of things, and I kind of went into the museum side of things. But I also work at Last Stand occasionally as well, out in Dripping Springs.
Okay. So did Hops and Heroes get their liquor license or brew? Or I'm not sure what license they were trying to get. but-
They have a new location.
Yeah, south.
Yeah. I hope that they did. I'm not sure if they did or not, but they're pretty cool. Yeah, they started inside the toy
Yeah.
museum, and now they've moved out in the.
Oh, they've moved out? I thought they were just had two.
Oh, maybe they did. But the toy museum has moved out.
Oh,
So the toy museum has now moved to Second and Congress. I actually haven't
As of
seen.
like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it's very, very recent, so I haven't seen the new location.
yeah. I knew very recently they had moved to
Mhm.
south location, further
Yeah.
south than south of
they're
the
cool.
river. There you go.
Yeah. It's all south from here, man.
Yeah, exactly. So with the museum, you focus on beers all over the world throughout history. Do you have an exhibit dedicated to beer in Texas? Or I mean, I would think you would get run out if you didn't talk about Texas.
So
We're not
there's
interested.
a couple. Get a roll. So like currently with the mobile setup, we do have some specifically like Texas items. We have some stuff that we found randomly. Where were we when we found those old
Junkyard.
bottles? We were in a junkyard.
Probably.
That's where we live. And no, we were in wasn't
Some
Fredericksburg.
antique shop.
We were in an antique shop,
Yeah.
and we came across.
Fredericksburg?
I don't remember if it was Fredericksburg,
Yeah.
but we were in an antique shop, and we came across some old Celis bottles, old Balcones
Mhm.
Brewing,
Mhm.
and Pecan Street
Mhm.
Brewing, and so like
Which is, side
all-
note, where Davis came from. Pecan Street.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And we found these old bottles. So anyway, we have a little bit of Texas history there, which is cool because those are breweries that were around in the 90s, and none of which exist now. And everybody's kind of done their own thing. So we have that for the mobile setup, and then when we get into a permanent location, we are going to do a couple things. One is that, part of the location is going to be a museum, but the other part, as I mentioned, will be like a tasting room or really just a bar.
Yeah.
We're hoping to get a brew pub license or, whatever that evolves into to where we can carry other people's beers as well. And we want the bar to be Texas focused, probably Central Texas focused.
Right.
And give a little history on each of the breweries and in each of the beers that we're offering locally. In addition to that, we've started working with the person who's in charge of St. Ed's Archives, who has started a project on preserving Texas beer and distilling history. And so they're gathering different artifacts, different objects to keep in their archive, and we're helping them try to do that. And the nice thing is those archives are going to be accessible really to anyone, and we are hoping, we've worked with them that we're going to be able to use those archives to hopefully put in like a rotating local exhibit.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
It's always nice to have those rotating local exhibits. Like I grew up in a very small town, but we had a Smithsonian museum that like the whole bottom floor, like most of the bottom floor was just a rotating exhibit from Kansas. Like it was crazy.
Wait, is that where you're from, Kansas?
Yeah, unfortunately. I was born here. I was raised Texan.
So you say.
No.
Yeah.
You were raised in Kansas.
I was raised as a Texan. You were in Kansas. And I came back. That's all that really matters.
Yeah.
I was born here and I came back.
Sounds a little shady.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Matt.
Where have you spent more time?
I spent more time in Texas.
At this point, I would think.
At this point in time, yeah. 20 of my years have been down here.
All right, enough of Cutter history.
We're talking about
We're
beer history
exhibit of Cutter history.
Actually, that will get people in the door.
It'll just
right
be
there.
your picture that we change out every once in a while and be like, this guy.
Hey.
So, as you said, the museum will have a bar, and you plan to focus on local craft beer. Well, local beer, at least. I don't know about craft beer. So no Carbach. Anyway. But will the museum be brewing its own beer as well?
Yeah, we will be. So that's kind of where I come into play.
Yeah.
That's why I got into the brewing side of things, is to learn. We've been homebrewing for a long time, but doing it on a professional scale is a whole nother animal.
Yeah.
So,
Sure. Getting the experience, though.
Yeah, it's quite necessary.
Are you going to be brewing historic beers like braggots and meads and stuff like
Potentially.
And
Grits.
Groots. Yeah. Dogfish Head did. What was it?
Like Midas.
Midas. Yeah.
Midas
sort of.
Gold or Midas
So-
Sautés and a bunch of other.
Yeah, we have our concept for the
Kvass.
museum and how you will
man.
go through it. Yeah, kvass.
Just throw some bread and some water.
Right, and be like done history.
See what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, what we're trying to do is create beers that are kind of walking the line between historically accurate and actually drinkable.
Yeah.
Because there
'Cause
are some. Because you
nobody's
really
gonna
could,
want-
be like, oh, just like bury this
And it is
crap
horrible.
in the dirt
Yep.
for a while
Yeah.
and throw it in some water and let it ferment, whatever.
Yep.
But so we have our displays sort of sectioned out into like kind of specific timelines that we've sort of attributed certain beer styles to those timelines. But talk about what you're working on right now with Last Stand.
Yeah, so we are good friends with the owners and the people at Last Stand. Great brewery. And they approached us actually about having a little display, talking about a beer that is going to be on tap semi-permanently, kind of a rotating tap of beer that we're going to brew with them on a small scale and just have constantly out there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Pretty soon.
And have our own tap out there.
We're brewing,
Awesome.
what's it, the end of this month or early June? The first one's going to be a pre-prohibition style lager.
Interesting.
I want to try that.
Yeah, and the idea behind that. So Matt came up with the recipe, but there's sort of like this story of when we had German immigrants coming over here. The ones who ended up starting,
1840s.
starting up, these big name breweries,
fleeing the regime in Austria.
And there's sort of the legend that they came over with their own yeast strains from their breweries.
Yeah.
So the pre-prohibition lager that we're brewing is going to be all American ingredients except for the yeast strain is a German style yeast strain.
We're going to actually smuggle it from Germany.
We are. We're importing a whole person with yeast tucked away in the pocket.
Well, if you need a cavity, cutters out. No.
What are y'all going to name it?
We haven't come up with a name yet, have we? Do y'all have any suggestions?
Naming a beer is probably the hardest part.
We probably will by the end of this podcast.
Yeah.
All right.
3 Beers In lager.
It's the Beer Museum beer on tap at Last Stand, which is called 3 Beers In. Like, who the hell made this beer?
Everybody. Everybody had a hand.
We all did.
But it's provocative.
What is, you probably talked about it earlier, but what is your favorite beer to brew? Like you have a style that you like to brew?
At North by?
At North by or just like
No,
just
your particular.
No.
What is your
just you in general?
Oh man, I am trying to think of a good one. A good Pilsner is always fun because you can't mess it up.
Well,
because everybody, you can, but people will know a lot easier than if you mess up. Like,
so you're not allowed.
But
like a cold.
You like the challenge. You like the challenge.
Yeah, the challenge of brewing a nice clean lager with a good hop character is really fun.
Yeah.
And it takes longer, so the payoff is even better. But brewing a really nice IPA is also it's pretty great.
I can tell every time he's brewed Zombie Dragon, which is their newest IPA. You've had it.
Yeah, we had a few of them.
Zombie Dragon's great, but I can tell anytime he's either brewed it or transferred it or dry hopped it, because he gets home before I do. And then when I walk into our place,
it smells like hops.
It smells like weed. And he says it's hops. But like,
well, I mean,
I'm not actually a brewer. I just smoke weed.
He tells me he goes to work and instead
I'm a drug lord.
What's the hop profile for Zombie Dragon?
It's Mosaic and Eldorado.
And I think it's the Eldorado, which is smelling very weedy to me. I don't know. Maybe it's Mosaic.
It's probably the Mosaic.
It's Mosaic,
I'm not a Mosaic fan.
What?
Oh, it's just harsh. It's just harsh to me. I'll drink it. No, I'm not saying
two
I'm
of them. So.
Yeah.
Right.
I probably would not.
Mosaic's a bit aggressive.
You're allowed to have your
wrong opinions.
Your wrong
yes.
opinions.
Yeah.
Do you have
I'll take my wrong opinions all day long.
Now that being said, those are your favorite style. That's your favorite style to brew. What's your favorite style to drink?
It would probably be both of those too.
Yeah. Nice. All right. And you since you actually do drink beer.
I do drink a lot of beer.
Research purposes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, it's always it's a tactic.
Me too. I do the same thing.
No, it's really hard to answer that question. And I usually just end up saying like depends on where I'm at, time of day, what I'm doing, sort of thing. But the beer that I first had that kind of turned me on to the craft beer scene or just beer in general was Live Oak Hef.
Oh, yeah.
My dad loved
number 2 in the world.
Yeah, loved Live Oak from the beginning, and he ended up installing kegerators in our backyard.
Oh yeah,
yeah, just so that we could have it on tap because they only had kegs.
Yeah, they just
he would go buy kegs and then put them on tap. And
that's very cool.
I enjoyed.
That's awesome.
Have y'all been out to their new place?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we went out there.
Yeah,
we actually recorded.
Cool.
It was amazing.
You talked to Chip?
We waved
at Chip.
Yeah, he came out the door and then he went right back in that same door.
He noped us. He's like, nope.
Exactly.
I think he saw a bunch of microphones and he was all like, nope, it's not where I want to be.
We were talking to Mike who handles their
marketing,
social and marketing. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, he's really cool. Apparently he had a really giant beard at one point. We didn't talk about that. I thought about it, but we talked about so much stuff.
Yeah.
That guy's just full of information. I mean, but yeah.
I love
and the place, the tap room is beautiful, and then they have the giant beer garden, the shadiest in town.
It's the best,
and it's right there. I didn't even know it even existed right there. Yeah, it's right across the freeway.
It's my new cell phone lot.
So I went to Live Oak when they were in their old location, which is a lot more cramped. The first time I went.
Did y'all ever go to the old one?
No, Tony did.
Tony did, but Tony's
not here.
I was going for like the banana
point at UT. Where we went to school, I took a class because I needed, I think it was upper division or something. I needed the credit. And it's like, well, if you're going to need the credit, then you might as well find a class that's interesting. And this one was it was about Czech culture, and it was called Robots and Beer Pubs.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, well, robot is derivative of a Czech word.
Yeah.
Robotnik.
Is that what it is?
Dr. Robotnik.
I know what that is.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Amazing nerds unite.
That's
Wait,
sort of how I know.
That guy was Czech?
His name was.
Okay.
And like it was a story that he
Czech
wrote
descent.
where he talked about.
Also,
robots and-
Robotnik is Czech for slave.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, wow.
so the robots were slaves in the first place.
Well,
They
I
still
signed up
are.
for the class, and like day one, you get the syllabus, and it goes over all the Czech history and culture you're going to learn. Yeah, you're going to learn about robots. But then the class ended at the end of the semester. You got to take a trip to Live Oak.
Oh, nice.
And so, which was like before there was no tasting rooms anywhere.
It was basically a dungeon back then.
It was a dungeon, but
It's pretty much what Mike said.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Meat
and so,
hooks and-
like they had an
it
entire
was an old
bus.
meat processing plant.
Something like that,
I think
yeah.
it probably was. I think some of the meat was still there. Or something. it was cramped and kind of.
Yeah.
Amazing that
Is that
such
they were smoking the
quality
stuff
beer.
on?
Yeah, they were smoking the pork and then feeding that into the malt.
But I honestly do not remember anything from the class until like they had the giant bus on that last day. We all piled on and they took us to Live Oak and we got a brewery tour, which is like you never got a brewery tour here because there was.
Yeah. They don't even do it at the new place. I mean, because it's they don't have room. Really.
And so Chip was actually, I believe, the one who gave the brewery tour,
Nice.
I want to say. And we went there because they were also like a brewery nearby that was using Saaz hops.
Yeah.
And that didn't exist anywhere.
Czech noble hop.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so we went there and drank a lot. And then the bus took us to Posse East. And we went there and drank a lot more. And luckily, like the final was already over, so we didn't have to worry about it. But there were some people who signed up for that class who weren't 21 yet and couldn't go on the field trip. And I was like, why are you here? It doesn't make any sense for you.
Dummies.
It's one of those things
They
like,
really
look at
love
the
Czech
syllabus.
culture.
So like, I need to drop this class right now and come back in 2 years.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to take the class now. Robotics and beer. I mean, that's a match made in heaven.
It is.
Yep.
Some
It's
people
one of
like-
those things. Just show up to class like all semester long. I'm just here for the tour. Really.
Just show up the last.
Oh, and then I heard that professor ended up getting fired because he bit someone in the face or something.
Wow.
Or bit someone like
Bath salts, yo.
Bath salts.
He was on like a school field trip
Hell of a
and
drug.
bit someone, and they were like, "You can't come back."
Well, I mean, they keep mouthing off. It's just
Yeah, you got to bite them eventually,
They're
right?
mouthing off. You got to mouth them on.
Yeah. One of the things about Live Oak while we were there, they had all their old
milk tanks
that they used to brew in just sitting out in the field. So
out to
when y'all finally get to brick and mortar, y'all should definitely try to like
Take the milk
take
tanks
one of those as a segment of your museum.
And that was something that was really interesting that we learned, especially studying like Prohibition period and also the beginning of craft beer. Was I had no idea how similar dairy equipment is to brewing equipment. And they're very, very similar. And a lot of the first craft breweries started off with old dairy tanks that they would modify. But also during Prohibition, when breweries could not make beer, a decent amount of them turned them into dairy making
ice cream.
tanks.
Yeah,
Ice cream.
yeah.
Yeah, they do ice cream or like malted milk or
Yeah.
things like that. So, and I think also maybe still some beer on the side.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, they can't tell you about
The malted milk by day and then beer at night. Well,
Yeah.
it doesn't work that
Milk
quickly.
stout.
I
No, it
understand,
doesn't. Yeah.
but
I mean,
yeah.
it's still ice cream. It just has beer in it.
Yeah,
so
right. Yeah, there you go.
let's make it a way to transport it.
Delicious.
We are going to do a podcast with that where we match up beer and
Ice cream.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, we're
Are y'all
hoping
gonna
to do
get
that
Yingling
soon.
ice cream? I still want to try that. Yingling puts out they made ice cream during Prohibition, but recently they started making it again. So
Oh,
now there's
really?
Yingling ice cream.
Will
Yeah,
they don't
we'll
sell
try
the
it now.
beer in Texas, but will we get the ice cream?
I don't know. I don't know what the distribution is for beer ice cream. I mean, it's not beer ice cream, but like ice cream made by a
Oh, it's
brewery.
beer ice
It's
cream.
beer
It's
ice cream.
we did an episode where we paired beers with Macrons, and that worked surprisingly
Ooh,
well.
dang.
I saw that they're doing that at Celis
Yeah.
soon.
Yep.
Yeah.
They
They
must
knew
have,
it.
they
Yeah,
must
they
have
got it
listened
from
to
y'all.
us.
I think
Yeah.
I commented on that, right? That they stole that idea from us.
They did not. Well, they would not comment. That.
They would not comment.
No comment.
They wouldn't not uncomment.
Their silence it speaks volumes.
They've also liked a lot of stuff we've done recently. So
I actually met one of their brewers today.
You did?
Yeah, I meant Daytona.
Daytona. That's cool.
Yeah.
Daytona's awesome.
I didn't mention that we just say, I was like, we love your beer.
Yeah.
But I didn't mention the podcast because she was in a rush.
We love your only beer. Until we have the
They've
raspberry.
got like 4 beers.
In cans?
Yeah.
Oh, they've got two beers in cans.
Yeah,
They got the
they
raspberry
have
also.
a bit more in their tap room.
Yeah.
They have a canning line and a bottling line.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah.
insane.
And they're not the only ones using it.
I wish their pale block were canned. I love that.
What are they bottling?
They're white. Well, all the ones that they had been bottling are still
The yellow
bottling.
label, I can't think of the name of it right now.
Citrus Grandis.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's it. And then the pale block,
block
and the Celis white.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Somebody was telling me this is a guy who had Celis when it first came out and when the raspberry first came out. And he was telling me that you have to try Rasmosas, which is just the raspberry mixed with champagne. And I love any cocktail that is 100% alcohol mixed together
Nice.
and nothing else.
Why? I mixed it with lemonade.
How was it?
It's good.
But
The
was
raspberry?
the lemonade alcohol?
No.
Like, was it
just
like the
lemonade.
lemonade flavored vodka?
Lalas.
It was not. It
Was it
just-
Lala's?
It was not. It was
Oh.
Sunkist.
Was it the
Well, then
raspberry?
you failed. You failed
Yes,
as a
the
human
raspberry.
being.
Yes, I mixed with lemonade. Yes.
Nice. And it was.
To figure out a good beer to mix
You were
with Sunny D
here
or
I did.
Tang.
Sunny D or Tang?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well,
It
full
would have to
tang
be.
IPA.
Oh,
Revolver.
well, that's
Yeah.
true. But like, is that too much Tang?
I don't
To
think
add
it's
tang
ever
to
too
it?
much tang.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it's true.
Mm,
We're going to do a
I think
cask
it would-
with Tang. And
Yeah. There you go. A wit. Tangy wit.
Nah,
I think
porter.
a tangy wit would be good. A wit tang.
Yeah.
Porter
Wit
with
tang
Tang.
clan.
Wit tang.
Light bulb.
She
went
put
off
that
in her
out
head.
there. It is now patent
Up for
pending.
grabs.
So
Patent pending.
Patent
Take it
pending.
out.
if anyone
Go ahead.
uses it,
Patent pending.
yeah, if anyone
But
uses it,
see,
Any ideas that you come up with on the podcast are property of the podcast. Did we not say that already? We'll edit that.
We will
out.
sell you those rights.
Anyway.
fair enough.
All right. We might have been over this a little bit, but what are your goals for the beer museum in the future? What are you really hoping for the museum to be one day?
We talked about this on the way up here that we're hoping to sell it to AB InBev.
That's our number one goal.
So they can close it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make it all about their
just like
history
sell
and
us.
shit.
There you go.
Yeah, AB InBev forever. We
Go Carbon.
So are y'all thinking, will y'all have global exhibits eventually? Will you do just US based? What are you thinking?
Will
on
you
that
put the
front?
Bullock out of business or?
No, we won't because it's part of the
State
government owned entity.
Yeah.
So
it is.
yeah, that would be pretty hard. But sure, yeah, that's the end goal.
Yeah.
I put myself out of a job with my job.
Yeah, we want to have a brewery museum here in Austin that people can feel comfortable coming to without being afraid of being judged for, I'm not into craft beer, but I want to, beer history sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah, where they can learn with no strings
understand
attached.
that.
How about when you go into a store and all the clerks start staring at you like you're going to rob the place and you're like, hey, I just want to buy something.
Yeah, like we don't want to be pretentious or anything at all.
Oh yeah, and that's what we try. We try not to be pretentious here.
so you're
'Cause-
trying.
No, seriously. Don't look at me, Clint.
That's the impression we've gotten.
Because we drink what we like. We're not going to do like a 120-minute Dogfish IPA and say that we love it, even
That's
if
our
we don't.
favorite beer. Speaking of which,
So,
should we
Oh yeah,
refill
yeah,
here?
yeah.
you
Let's
want to refill it?
let's do
I
it.
think Cutter should have to do that since he's.
closest.
Cicerone certified beer
yeah.
pourer.
Nice.
Well, you can't
Cicerone
say
certified
Cicer-
beer.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
Cicerone
level one.
certified beer pourer.
I like that everybody's like, oh, level one.
Yeah.
Level 1. Yeah.
Wow, I feel the pressure just all of a sudden ramped
dead
up. there.
silence.
You do
As
realize
we
you have
watch.
3 other glasses to fill, right?
Yeah, you gotta get on it,
He
man.
doesn't think about those things. He only thinks
That's
about
right.
himself.
I can also share with Matt.
Yeah,
We don't have to.
We can.
We share a bank
We're the
account.
same.
We can share the
we share the same bladder.
I can help. I can do this. If nothing else,
you can make the liquid go further than it actually can.
Oh, wow.
Is that what you're saying right now?
Cicerone 1.5 right there is what that is.
Cicerone Jesus level. He can just
Yeah.
continue to
Have you
multiply.
seen this?
This beard,
There you go.
Joel gets nothing.
I want mine at Cutter's level. He's pouring these
I
short.
only need a bit.
I'll give you some of mine, Joel.
Actually, maybe.
No, it looks like you're going to get another one, right? Isn't there?
No,
There
no.
is a crowler
There's
in
a
there.
crowler. It's
You
a
could-
different
you could-
beer.
What'd you bring?
It's mango and the dragon.
It's a zombie dragon with mango
Zombie
in it.
dragon.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, I want to try that. Hey, Cutter.
What's up, Ross?
Have you checked out our Patreon page?
I have not.
Well, you can find it at patreon.com/NXNW. patreon.com/3beersinpodcast. Check out all of our rewards. You can give as little as $1 a month to help us keep doing what we're doing. It really helps out, and we'll give you a thank you on the show.
Wow.
Or for a little more, you can remain anonymous. All right, so we got another beer.
It's still not overly hoppy. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Some beers get more hoppy as
it was.
Well, it tends to linger on Clint's tongue.
That's what she said.
Gross.
Little known fact: Clint's a bitch.
Yeah. I don't think that's. I don't think that's little known. I kind of let people know that up front. I'm like, hey, just so you know,
after 16
IPAs,
episodes,
hoppy beers, I don't really dig them. And they're like, oh, okay, I get you're a bitch. That's,
what I hear is
I don't really dig them either,
blah,
but
I'm a bitch.
Yeah. A well-known fact.
Actually, what one thing that I'd like from the Py Jingo really is a little bit more malt. But then you're messing with it, and it's not like a classic pale ale.
Mm-hmm.
This is sort of pretty much the classic pale ale right here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
that's what we were shooting for.
Well, yeah. And when you finally got the recipe, you're Py Jingo. No.
Yeah, or whatever people say.
Yep.
Yeah. We did the
1999. I said that when I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
We did the Fresh Coast IPA from Friends and Allies.
Yeah.
And that was one where at first the
hops were kind of strong.
The hops were actually less prevalent when I started drinking it.
Yeah.
And then when I got to that third beer,
built it.
It just like was
that's all you could taste.
Potent on the back of it. So yeah.
Mm.
So that was one where I started off as like, oh yeah, I could drink this, and then by the end I was like, I don't want this.
I think that was the first IPA I admitted to liking.
Ooh.
It was a 1.
It was so good it drove us to drink Coors Light.
It was 7.2. So
yeah,
after about 4, let's keep the party going.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. So this question was asked by Davis.
We can't answer any questions asked by Davis.
I don't know about that.
Is that a fan?
Well, I think he did listen to some of our. He was aware of our sign off. So, and you were there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What would be your deathbed beer?
See, like, if you're on your deathbed, you're not drinking a beer.
The hell you were not.
Why wouldn't you?
Because it's in an IV, and
you're actually they take out.
I'm sure you're butt chugging it by then.
They take out the tube.
They're just like they flip you over, they stick a bottle in your butt, and they're like, just go peacefully.
What beer you put up?
What beer would you put up your butt?
What beer wouldn't I put up my butt? Is really the question. Deathbed beer. Like, what do you even want from a beer?
What's your last beer that you're gonna drink as you're walking this mortal plane?
See, I think that it would be more like who I would drink my last beer with, and I would probably let that person pick what the beer is.
But that's not the question.
That's not the question. I know.
What would that person pick?
Well, it would be Matt. Like, I would drink my last beer with Matt, and then what would you pick?
I am trying to decide: is the last beer going to be super
double
boozy, or is it going to be like something just like, I love Hans Pils and I love Live Oak Pils, and those are two of my favorite beers.
Yeah, I hopped with rat poison just to speed up the process.
I picked something to prep me. I picked North Coast Old Rasputin.
Okay,
because that is to me like drinking liquid death.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I love it.
Or like Mephistopheles from Avery.
That's right.
15% ABV. I'm going to go with Hans Pils.
All right.
Solid.
I'd share a Hans Pils with you.
You said Ed Sheeran? Share a Hans
Get your own Hans.
No, I would not share anything with Ed Sheeran.
Okay.
At all. I would not even share a scene in Game of Thrones with him. I would share nothing with him.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, because we're going to go Notebook style. Like, I'm pretty sure. Just like slam a beer. We're going to shotgun a Hans and then
butt chug.
We're going to butt chug a Hans. We're going to find them in the bottles they had to have. Because I think it's hard to do it with a can. I don't know.
Yeah, I would.
We're going to be old, hopefully. And so we'll
Unless
find
you have like
the Hans bottles.
Funnel.
Beer bong it straight to the butt.
Oh, okay. Yeah, beer bong. But either way. We'll butt chug a Hans and fall asleep forever in the old folks' home. It's gonna be great. I can't wait. I hope this happens next year.
Why did the Notebook end that way?
Well, you didn't see the director's cut.
Oh man!
I'm sure Chance
that was one of the deleted scenes.
Chance, give me that director's cut.
Well, he does have like 3 copies.
He couldn't be here tonight, though.
No, I heard that he was drafting a letter to the Queen because he was disappointed that he and his wife were not invited to the royal wedding.
Who wasn't?
It was probably because of that hot tub thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't want any of that.
No, doesn't want it.
It was because he was testing out
the perfect size jet, you know?
Yeah.
There you go.
That's probably what happened.
I bet it was.
You don't want to be involved with any of that at your
Gotcha.
royal wedding.
All right. Well, so Ross thought that was going to be the last question for y'all.
Oh.
Well, I said that, but
there's one.
It was the last real question?
No, this is a very real question.
Real
are we going to talk about movies now? Because that's the only reason I came on this podcast.
We're about to talk about one specific movie. The question that is burning in all of our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
The Fifth Element. Is it a good movie, or is it a movie that is just fun to watch? A bad movie.
An entertaining movie.
Are y'all ready to witness our divorce? That's what's going to happen.
Who's going first here? Virginia? Matt?
Matt, why don't you go?
Matt?
It's a terrible movie, and it's not even fun to watch.
Whoa!
I thought it would go the other way.
Get out.
And on that note,
I think it is wonderful. It is quotable. It is fun to watch.
I can't even stand thinking about it.
Listen, I went to go watch it the other day. We actually have it on DVD, and I had like this rare moment where Matt was not there because I knew he would not watch it with me.
Mm-hmm.
The baby was asleep, and I was like, oh, I can watch The Fifth Element because that's a thing I get excited about. And I went and grabbed the DVD and I popped it open, and it's not even in there. And I think you threw it away or something. Like, I blamed you immediately. So I no longer have a copy of it.
Oh, hell no.
And
Too much Ruby Rod.
Disappointed. Yeah. What is everybody's opinion here?
So you're in. It's a good movie.
I like it. It's a good. Is it
a good movie?
It's a bad movie that's great.
Yes. Yes.
We'll have to go back and look at the scores, but
yeah,
I think I'm winning right now.
The real battle here is between.
You're the first person we've ever heard that's all.
I don't like that movie.
I hate it.
So
can't say that about a Luc Besson movie.
This is a battle between us.
Just like everything, every moment.
Movies,
this started when we lived together. What, 7 years ago? 7, 8 years ago? It was on TV, and you were real excited about it. I was like,
Wait, you don't like it?
No, I enjoy it. It's like,
he thinks it's a bad.
It's a bad movie.
It's like the resurrection of like a B movie. Like,
for me, if it's not a bad movie, it's not a good movie. Like, I'm not even. Okay. I don't want a good movie. I want a bad good movie every time.
Well,
it's hard to watch legitimate movies with Jen.
You could just watch Shawshank Redemption again.
Yeah, you could just turn on. We still have cable because it's like through our complex, and you can turn on the TV any weekend and see Shawshank.
Yeah, it's on pretty much every channel.
Mm-hmm. It is a good movie.
It is.
Is that awesome?
It is a good
Fifth
movie.
Element is on somewhere too.
It's awesome when you're like drinking so late in the night, it's on, and then you wake up in the afternoon and it's on again. And you're like, wait a minute.
It's like the same part that you fell asleep at.
I wish I could tell you that the Monopoly guy fought the good fight and the sisters let him be. I wish I could tell you that. But prison is no fairy tale world.
Right, exactly.
It's
just trying to bring you back into
if you're watching FX.
So Red was here. It's eventually just like you see the carving in your own wall. Like Red was here.
Yeah. Brooks, so was Red.
Too, that's right.
I actually think, well, Matt, you're out in some crazy world over there. Yeah, but this puts Cutter up by 1, I think, right now.
It's one of those, it's pretty close right now.
It's been pretty close to 50-50 split on like everybody we asked.
I'm just oh,
God.
I'm just saying.
I thought I said get out, Matt.
That's right.
Still here.
So wait, is that's the only movie that exists for y'all, that conflict exists?
Because
it was such a point of contention when we lived
and
together.
Anything by Ryan Johnson.
No.
Don't get him started.
Brick was okay. We do not want to go down.
Do we want to go? Again. Yeah, there's a rant. What episode was that rant?
Friends and Allies.
Coast, yeah.
Was it in the Fresh Coast?
I think it was the Fresh Coast.
Yeah, because the wound was so new
Yeah. But anyway, in the rant, I literally said
you ended it with
fuck Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're on that side of
it. Yeah.
No, I think you said he was a fucking dick.
Yeah,
you like.
Yeah, I did.
I think you're like fuck Ryan Johnson, fucking dick.
Good.
So yeah. That was.
You feel what you feel.
Yeah.
Well, man. I mean,
I clearly felt
Ryan
it then.
Johnson.
Yeah,
I agree.
He's listening to this, and he,
I'm sure he's listened.
Oh man, that hurts.
We have downloads in California.
I'm sure he's heard worse.
He got a lot of hate for.
He's still got 3 more. Yeah.
He deserves his own a lot of hate.
Okay, so then, what's your deathbed movie to go with your deathbed movie? Well, yeah, we got to notebook it while we notebook it.
So wait,
so meta.
We'll go around the table. Beer and movie.
Yeah.
Probably the second Ninja Turtles movie.
Ooh, solid.
Secret of the Ooze.
Yeah, straight up booze.
A little too
What is your
rough.
beer?
Eddie Reyes
It was
Jr.
Killian's Red Irish Ale.
Totally, because the turtles are Irish. Is that why?
Yeah, it all makes sense.
Yes.
The Ninja Turtles. At least Raphael was, because he had the red mask.
The band.
Red,
yeah.
Mhm.
My thinking was
Red.
I had a bunch of Sam Adams and then randomly a Killian's, and the Killian's was awesome.
It's because you had a bunch
it
of
was also
Sam
my
Adams.
first Irish Reds, so I still like it. I've only had like 2 other Irish Reds. I still think it's better than those 2, but that would be my
Better
deathbed.
than the
Nice.
North by Northwest. Yep.
Movie and beer. Clint.
All right. So beer, I would go to the Shiner Hefeweizen because that was kind of my first
Foray
favorite
into-
kind of off the
Not the regular.
They don't
the
make
big
it
ones.
anymore, do they?
The Shiner Hefeweizen?
I thought they stopped
I-
making that.
Oh,
don't
did they
know.
stop making that?
Yeah.
When's
I
the
mean, I
last time
haven't
you
had
drank
it.
it?
I haven't had it in a while.
How can this
But
be your
I
I haven't
deathbed?
seen it in a while. I think they
Because
still listed on their site.
It was
though,
kind
so.
of my first deviation from all the normal stuff, right?
It was your conversion beer.
Yeah,
Remember-
kind of.
When we lived
so
together,
that's why.
and we made the first pilgrimage to Shiner, and I got the thing.
Yeah.
They said they were discontinuing the Heffa, and that's why I bought
No.
that sign.
They were discontinuing the label, that design of the label that was on the bottle. They weren't discontinuing the
I've
Hef.
not seen the Heffa in ages.
I'm going to have to go check now.
So you'll
I'll go
find
find
the
it.
beer that doesn't exist, and what do you watch while you drink it?
I
A movie that
watched
doesn't exist.
a movie that doesn't.
Last
Oh,
Jedi.
no.
That's
I know
what-
exactly what I watch. I watch Rock and Roller.
Oh, beauty is a beguiling call to death, and I'm addicted to the sweet pitch of its siren.
All right.
Of course you would.
Yeah.
No, I'm not familiar.
No, me neither.
It's a Guy Ritchie movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I like Guy Ritchie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
haven't
pretty
seen that
good.
one.
Unique.
It was
Okay.
pretty much
If you like
right
Guy
before
Ritchie,
he
you'll like
did Sherlock and got all.
So-
well,
It's
Yeah.
Gerard Butler, Idris Elba, Tom Wilkinson,
yeah.
Tom Hardy.
And
Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Matt King.
It's kind of
Oh,
like a
Matt
movie before
Strong.
all of those guys really
Mark Strong.
Mark
got
Strong.
more popular.
Ludacris.
Ludacris.
Yeah, Ludacris is in it.
Jeremy Piven.
Jeremy Piven's in it. Yeah.
Damn.
It's,
Everybody's in it.
crazy.
It's got a ton of
There's-
people. And
yeah.
it's
Guy Ritchie at a high point, pretty much.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I'm not saying it's his best movie, but it was at a high point.
You didn't like King Arthur?
Did he do that?
It's
Yeah.
best
Yeah.
that we not
Clive
discuss
Owen.
that.
It was okay.
That's a good Charlie Hunnam,
yeah.
and he did karate.
Yep.
Yeah.
Karate.
Yeah, he
In medieval
it might have been
England.
kung fu.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
It's another Guy Ritchie movie, so if you really kind of like his style, you
Yeah,
won't really
it's-
mind
it's
it too
that-
much,
that
unless you have
style,
a
but-
huge
No, I thought
problem
it was
with King
opposite.
Arthur doing kung fu.
I think it was kung fu.
Yeah,
I thought it
it's
was the
kung fu.
opposite of a Guy Ritchie
He knows
movie.
kung
Like
fu.
no
Yeah.
quick cuts.
No, they did
like,
lots of
they
cute
did.
cuts.
stuff.
That is all they did.
You,
Yeah.
said
You guys saw it?
fell
Oh, yeah.
asleep.
Nobody
before the
saw
cuts
that
got
movie.
slower.
What, King Arthur?
Yeah.
I saw it. It was fine.
Well, are we
But I
talking
don't
King
feel like it had a
Arthur, or
lot
are
of
we
quick
talking
cuts.
A kid in
Oh.
King Arthur's court.
Oh.
That was my deathbed movie.
Oh, damn. All right. Let's move on. Ross.
All right. When I talked to Davis, I said Killian's as well, though I felt sort of ashamed.
As you were drinking another
Never
red.
feel
As you were
ashamed.
drinking a Red Zeppelin.
No, it's just that's not actually
Holding that
craft.
red can in
It's-
my hand.
It's fake craft. So, but I would say now the Doppelblur Circle's Doppelblur. That is my current deathbed beer.
Doppelblur was pretty good.
Imperial half. Oh man. See, this is the tough question.
Oh, is it?
Yes. I mean, because there's so many. I want to choose like 5. It's gonna be a long death.
You get one.
You get one.
Yeah,
You have an hour and a half to live. What movie are you gonna die
Longest
doing?
movie I can think of.
You're strapped to a cinema chair with
Anything
a bomb underneath
with
it.
Anne Hathaway would be the
Anything
longest.
with Anne Hathaway?
Princess Diaries 2.
Would be the longest movie, not the movie that I would want to watch. But,
Oh, I thought you were serious. I'd watch Anne Hathaway
what
movies.
would you watch? Come on.
oh man, probably Citizen Kane
Whoa.
or
I thought this
Shawshank
wasn't pretentious.
or Royal Tenenbaums or Snatch. There you go.
Okay.
Or just
Snatch.
marathon it, and why not?
Snatch.
But
You're
you guys
dying.
wouldn't
You
let
can
me.
watch all
No.
of them.
Wait,
Wait.
I can watch all of them.
I'm giving you permission.
Oh,
I came
okay.
up with the question.
It's a long death.
Snatch.
Yeah.
You're not dying instantly.
Hold on.
Yeah, I would do Snatch over. You know how much I love Snatch.
All right. Yeah. All right.
Snatch
fair
is
enough.
pretty
All right.
Some
As
Cutter.
long as-
bucolic and some.
Right before you die. You
Some
just- you have to
bucolic and some
whisper
Snatch.
Red Zepp,
There you
and
go.
then
Yeah.
you can go.
Oh man, that would
you
be.
have to whisper Red Zepp, and then you can
Red
go.
What does it mean?
Yeah.
Cutter.
It was a beer he liked.
Cutter. What you got for
I'm
us?
still going Old Rasputin from North Coast as my deathbed beer. It's still my favorite movie. I would go with Gladiator. Solid.
Really?
That's a
Are
long
you not
movie.
entertained?
Are you not entertained?
And you're like, yes,
Ridley
I am.
Scott. Oh,
Yes, I am
Or
entertained.
Alien.
Busy
Oh.
little bee.
Or Legend. That's the Ridley Scott movie I would die to is Legend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Anything with Tim
Ooh.
Curry in it.
Ooh.
interesting choice.
Or,
I like it.
Blade Runner Final Cut.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Come on, man.
You know-
All right.
Well, we had
I have
said,
like 10
we had
deathbed
said
movies.
Hans and Notebook, but you know the movie we would actually die to.
The Fifth Element.
Thelma and
Because it would
Louise.
make you want to die.
That's the one he would kill me too. He's like, let's put this on, and then I'm just gonna murder you.
She'll go out happy.
Man, throughout the years, we've developed a pretty strong relationship to The Room.
Oh.
We would not die to The Room. Is
Yeah,
that
I'm
really
gonna-
what you thought I was into? What is the movie we watch every Valentine's Day?
The Room.
No,
That's not what we watch.
Evil Dead 2.
that,
Awesome.
We
That is
should
a great
change
one.
the tradition to Evil Dead 2,
All right.
but
No,
currently,
Eternal Sunshine is what we watch every year
Oh,
on
okay.
Valentine's Day.
Oh.
It's a great movie.
so if we're gonna die Notebook style, we have to die to Eternal
Okay.
Sunshine.
I would go Empire, though.
I love you.
I know.
What?
Empire.
Empire
Of
Records.
the Sun?
Empire of the Sun.
Empire
Yeah.
Sun.
What are,
I was like,
The
Empire
only
Strikes
Empire.
Back? Not a bad
Yes.
choice.
That is- yeah, that
Empire
is-
Strikes Back.
I am not dying with you to Star Wars. I would rather die to Empire Records.
Oh, we mustn't dwell. No, not today. We can't. Not on Rex Manning Day.
That's not what we were dying together to. It's what.
Yeah, it is what we're dying together to. They're butt
Because-
taking a Hans going Notebook style to Eternal Sunshine.
I'm changing it.
Well, he's saying no
But-
because he'd have already killed you because you made him watch Fifth Element,
Yes,
and
that's
so
fine.
this is what he's left
Then I'm gonna
with.
die to Wish Upon a Star, the Disney original
Whoa.
movie,
Ooh.
and you can go die to Empire.
Butt chucking a Hans, then he's murdering you to Notebook, and then he's
They're
watching
both Disney movies.
Empire Strikes Back.
They are, yeah, they
Well,
are.
and yeah, now they are.
Uh-huh. But, okay, cool. Well,
That's
told you
great.
we'd get
That's
divorced
great.
over this.
Eventually.
Mm-hmm.
You
On a
gotta
long
get the
enough
museum
timeline.
first, though.
Yeah, we'll get the museum. We'll
And
get
then
the
you'll have to
stable.
divide it in half.
So who
So
gets
you get a
who gets the
line.
museum? Who gets the?
Obviously, I gotta get
yeah,
the
I guess-
museum, and
yeah.
I'm gonna have to buy the beer from you. Of course, with like the distribution laws anyway, we'll probably have to do that regardless.
Buy it from
TABC.
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was something that Mike was talking about at Live Oak. Because if they need a keg,
Real
they have to
dumb.
buy it. They
From
have to.
themselves.
They have to do an invoice and buy it from themselves to fill at
Real
the
dumb.
tap room.
So quick shout
Archaic.
out to the Craft Pack.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If you think TABC is dumber than the Fifth Element,
I mean, there's a lot of things dumber than the Fifth Element. So
yeah,
Like
so
Matt.
TABC is one of them. You should donate to Craft Pack.
Yeah.
Everybody should follow Craft Pack.
Bless you.
They're doing great stuff. We want to change
Yes,
the laws
listeners.
in Texas.
Yes.
And
We have to get our own super PAC
yes.
to actually, get some weight in the government. So.
Yeah. If you want to take beer to go from a good,
we got to change the laws.
Texas brewery,
or if you don't want breweries
Get a
to
growler?
have to pay themselves to buy their own.
There are a lot of broken laws.
Yeah.
Because there's laws against filling growlers and not filling growlers and all that.
Yeah. It's pretty
Depends
complicated.
on your license.
Yeah.
It's pretty silly.
Yeah. There's different licenses that require. Yeah.
You can
That's
get a brew
stupid.
pub license, and then you can. But
So we at North Bay, we have a brew pub license and we can sell beer to go.
Yeah.
But Austin Beer Works, for example, or Live Oak does not have a brew pub license. They have a production license.
Yeah.
They can't sell beer to go.
They can sell you a can of beer to take on the disc golf course.
Yes, which is not to go.
No,
property.
it's on their property.
Yeah.
You could run with it, but then you only have one can. So.
If you stumble off to the property and
Yeah.
It's really stupid. And Texas is actually the only state in the entire United States that doesn't allow that. So
Yeah. I hear there's some stringent laws in Georgia, actually, that they just recently changed. They were even stricter. I think they couldn't have brew pubs at all, I believe. They just recently changed it, though.
Yep.
So
I got
they
a
have
fresh
few.
reminder of the stupidity of TABC the other day because I went to HEB and I was doing the grocery shopping and I grabbed a Shiner has their summer 6-pack out or whatever.
Oh, you were so excited about that.
I was very excited. I put it in my cart.
Shiner Hef.
It was Sunday. Yep. It was before noon.
Yeah.
I got up to the register and she was like, "Oh, it's not noon yet." I was like,
"What are you talking about?"
Shit, it's Sunday.
I've run into that same problem. And during football season. But you want to get your beer before noon.
Oh yeah.
But you can't. I think it was 11:45, so I just walked around the store for a little bit more, and then brought it back.
Just
to
stay in that same line.
register. Yeah,
just stand at the register and just be like, "I'm just going. I'll wait."
Yeah, I'll wait. Yeah.
I ran into it. He got
Silent
I don't remember
protest.
what you were trying to buy, but he brought it up to the register.
There was beer and
well,
there was
it was beer, but I don't remember what type. And
Carbach.
Yeah, it was Carbach. Well,
Frio.
this would have been before anything.
Wait, is Frio considered?
Frio.
And he brought it up, and the woman looks at him, and she says, "Tarly," and he was like,
"Parlay,"
and he was
didn't know
like,
what that
"What?"
meant.
And she
I think
goes,
that's when you
Tarly.
talk with a pirate, right?
And he was like, "What do you mean?" And she says, "Tarly to buy this beer. You have to put it back for now. It's only $11.50." Yeah. It was Tarly. Tarly to buy
I mean,
it.
it sucks that it's
She Irish or Jamaican?
Yes.
Irish Jamaican.
I don't know how to do the
A Jamaican
accents,
leprechaun.
So yes, she was a Jamaican leprechaun.
There you go. Slap at that bass, man. I slap at that piazza.
I like to slap the bass.
But yeah, try the. I'll wait. Like if it's like 11 o'clock, just I'll wait.
11 hour, just an hour.
If you get a case, you're just sitting on the case.
Tarly.
Okay.
We say that all the time now. We had to get up in the morning. It's like, oh, Tarly.
The morning.
In the morning. If we have to get up in the morning,
It's Tarly.
Nice.
Oh man, I feel like I'm watching Devil's Own.
You're the only one, I guess.
Yeah, you are the only one. I don't get the
There's
reference.
no Fifth Element.
Blown away.
That's right.
Oh man, blown away. Why would they cast Tommy Lee Jones as an Irishman?
Why would they cast Tommy Lee
Irish-
Jones in anything anymore?
Why
His
did-
eyes.
wait,
Because he produces it.
We already. Why would they cast Sean Connery as a Spaniard?
I'm not Spanish, I'm Egyptian.
Yeah.
Because it's Sean Connery and he's
Yeah.
awesome.
You mean as a Spaniard?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is exactly what I meant.
She can do Scottish.
That one's easy.
But you're gonna tell Sean Connery to do an accent? Sean Connery. No.
I would like
It
to
did
see.
win it did win the Oscar
I would like to
for
see
greatest
Sean
movie ever.
Connery do an
As it should
accent.
have.
Any accent, yeah.
Any accent.
Well,
other than his own.
People don't seem to mention it or notice it, but Anthony Hopkins does the same thing.
Yeah, true.
He's just Anthony Hopkins in every role now.
Yeah.
Because Odin, he's just reading lines. He's not doing anything.
There are plenty of actors who do that, though.
There are
Just one
plenty.
note.
Yeah.
Cashing it in, man.
Hey, make that money.
Yeah.
Stack them papers.
Selling out.
I think he
They all
has
sold out to AB InBev.
Go Carbach.
Is that your sign off?
Yeah.
Go
No.
Carbach.
It is now.
Amen.
There you go.
All right. So it's been great having you guys on here.
Thanks
for having us.
Yeah, listeners, check out the Texas Beer. Are you Texas Beer? You're just the Beer Museum.
TheBeerMuseum.com.
Do you guys have any upcoming gigs that we need to give a shout out to?
Yeah. What's your schedule like?
We do monthly style nights at Witchcraft Bottle Shop.
Oh, cool. Which? Oh,
Miller.
Miller. Yeah.
So we have that. The next one we're doing, we're going to be focusing on Gosas, and then we have one
salty.
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh.
For the next
salty lady
every month until the end of the year. So that's what we're doing, and then we've also got Texas History Days coming up in Salado at Barrow Brewing.
The Gosas were a salty surprise.
I actually wanted
me.
to do early on. I wanted to do Today in Texas History, but that kind of fell by the wayside really quickly.
Did anything happen today in Texas History? There's not enough to fill up. No.
I mean, because Cutter did not take Texas history. In Kansas.
We totally slayed it at the Alamo, man. We were great. Texas was number one.
Remember the Alamo?
Remember that?
I know of the Alamo.
We gave him that history note.
Texans technically did not slay at the Alamo.
You're ruining it. I didn't know he knew about it.
No. They did slay on a ratio of like 10 to 1.
Yeah. I mean, but they were fortified.
More than 10 to 1 there.
It's still some really incorrect history, and you could go around like, guys.
Some Texas pride. Yeah. Well, he did do that on, what was it, Texas Independence Day?
Yeah, it was Texas Independence Day, yeah.
Punch the Mexican.
Yeah, that's how I celebrated it.
Remember the Alamo. Yeah.
Wouldn't do that
I
to
get
me.
punched a lot.
Remember the Alamo.
She's got such a punchable face. That's why I married him. So he could put a ring on my hand.
Ouch.
Wow.
Yeah.
And on that note, this is the podcast.
Tiniest diamond.
A small carrot, visibly occluded, rose-cut diamond.
Are we going to make the third beer the mango one?
You should.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cutter, pour.
To the beers. Can you talk a little bit about it? You said it was the
Zombie Dragon.
Zombie Dragon
with mango in it. So at North by the North store, we call it the Brewer's Tap. We have a couple like special kegs where we can put finished beer into and also mix other things into it. So we'll do like fruit or extra hops or something, and it's almost like a cask.
Extra hops?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Yeah, because it's beautiful.
Why?
It wouldn't contribute to bitterness at that point.
No, it's just aroma and flavors. It's
only 32.
At that point, you're just putting in the aroma.
Yeah,
that's right.
Okay,
so
all right, fair
that's
enough.
what we do.
So when y'all make this, do you put it in these crowler cans and sell it?
The crowler is pretty cool because it comes without a lid on it. And you can
pick any beer on tap.
You pour the tap in directly into the can, and then you put the lid on, and then you put it into the crowler machine, and it seams it for you.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay, cool.
So you can take any beer to go, basically.
We saw that at Black Star Co-op.
Yeah,
they had
Black
this.
Star has it.
Yeah.
And it's a great option because it's going to last longer than if you put it in a growler.
The growler or this.
Unless you seal it like
actually,
how Matt did, and then it's not going to be.
That's actually a good point. Growlers. How long should beer last in a growler?
Like a couple days.
Yeah,
right?
really just a couple days.
Yeah.
A couple of few days.
Though
and when
the thing
you
about
open it, you drink it all.
Yeah.
You do not reseal it and put it back.
That's the thing about the crowler. You have to drink it all once it's opened.
Real quick though, this is delicious.
Yeah,
that is good.
So, but how did you get the mangoes? And like, if you were doing a homebrew, how would you get fresh mangoes in there? Because we were thinking, during the secondary, chop them up.
Like during second fermentation or something like that?
Yeah, that would be a good way to do it. So this, the beer is already completely done.
Yeah.
It's even carbonated and everything. So we have these giant 15-gallon corny kegs, and we get the mango into the corny keg.
Yeah.
Then we purge it out like with CO2
right.
a lot, put the zombie dragon on top of it. And if it's still seeming too like chunky.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's what I would worry about if you put it in a keg.
Jump it into another 15-gallon corny keg.
Okay.
So that it looks presentable.
French people are amazing.
So secondary could work though then.
Yeah, secondary.
For a
I think,
homebrew.
Soaking it
I think for a homebrew, I think secondary would be fine.
Cutter, now that you've read the can, tell me about all the flavors you taste in this beer.
I was reading this. This Take It Anywhere. It's actually quite witty.
Specific to any.
It doesn't matter.
Getting some mango.
And
some zombies and dragons.
So that's
The hell you say?
That's something that I've found. Maybe it's just Texas, maybe it's just local, that not a lot of people here know what crowlers are. We are part of the Hopped Up Network for all your podcast needs. But
hop up on it.
But they're those guys, a lot of them are, fucking Yankees. Fuck those guys.
It's pronounced goddamn Yankees.
Oh, yeah.
They're in, a lot of them are New York, Buffalo, Indiana. But they're always talking about crowlers, and they're going to breweries, they're getting crowlers. And then I bring it up to these guys, and they're like, what's a crowler?
They've become a pretty big deal here in Texas, mostly recently, because before illegal.
Yeah, not allowed. It was actually, I think the brewer at Whitestone, he was telling me about a brewery. They had a crowler machine, and TABC agents actually came in and tried to yank it out.
Coffee, yeah.
It was Cuvée Coffee.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
One. Yeah, Cuvée Coffee had it. TABC was like, you can't have this. And they were like, no, we can.
Yeah.
And then TABC came back and they're like, no, you really can't have it. We're taking it. And so they're like, screw you, we're going to sue you. And they won their lawsuit year before last year.
A couple of years ago.
It was about a year ago, because actually I saw like a Facebook thing. Cheers. That came up. Anyway.
That Cuvée Coffee made a whole thing about it with like, come and take it with the crowler machine.
And the big thing was like,
So did they make a flag that said come and take it, but with a, just a shirt, not a flag?
They might have had a...
Yeah, they really did. They kept it up until TABC had a reason to come actually physically remove it.
Yeah.
They should have put the flag like on top of their building or something like that, and like with the flag flying.
There's a
but
sweet
instead of a
video.
cannon, have it be the machine.
Just a can.
They should.
There's a sweet video of them shotgunning. Shotgunning a bunch of beers before they actually go in to talk to TABC about it. But so now they're legal. The whole point was they were like, okay, we can have growlers. Why can't we have crowlers?
Crowlers would be even
better because
more sealed.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
TABC, their argument was like, oh, you can't have crowlers because it's the same thing.
It's
like
packaged beer.
It's repackaging beer is what they said. It's like, you've got beers sold to you by breweries that you do not own, and then you put it in a can and you seal it.
Right.
But they're like, we put it in a growler and we seal it. But they're like, no, it's not really sealed. It was completely dumb. So that's why they sued them.
Basically like, we don't have a law for this yet, so we're going to yank it out of this one to keep other people from doing it.
Right.
And Cuvée Coffee said, screw you.
My first experience with growlers, I had no idea that you couldn't drink it on site.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
Here
wait,
you can.
I thought it was like bringing my own pitcher. Like, hey, fill up my pitcher and let me go drink it.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, no, you can't actually drink it on the premises. I was like,
damn you, Pine House.
That happened to us,
the
actually.
fuck you said?
Yes. At North by before Matt worked there, actually.
Oh.
So the first growlers we had were in Washington State. And you can get a growler. They would give you a discount, and then you could serve yourself. There, like you could drink your growler on site. And actually, Alamo Draft House was able to do that for a short time. I think you could buy a growler and drink it in the theater.
Wow.
So it was very confusing. We went to North by when we were like pretty much just of drinking age, because we had been drinking in Washington State and staying with my sister, and then we came down here and we ordered a growler and we started to open it, and they were like, "No, you can't do that here." So we had a similar experience, and it was ridiculous. And you just think to yourself, like, why?
Yeah. I used to I literally lived in the parking, like there was a parking lot and then a fence. And then I lived in the apartment complex right across from Freetail down in San Antonio. We went over there, grabbed the pizza one time. We're like, oh, hey, we'll grab a growler. We'll just sit outside and eat this. And they're like, no, you can't do that.
You can't do that.
I was like, all right, well, we'll take the growler and we'll jump over the fence again.
And
We'll
it's
drink it
so
there.
hard to explain to people who are from out of state, because plenty of people come and visit our breweries who are from out of state, and they want to, like, for instance, at Last Stand, buy packaged beer to go and then drink it out in the beer garden, which then we have to explain to them. It's like, well, no, you can't drink our 6-packs out in the beer garden. You can't open them yourselves. We can open it for you and serve it to you. Or, it's just... There are all of these very blurry lines, and
you said dumb wrong.
Yeah,
dumb
there are all
lines.
these really dumb lines.
So basically, we can open up a place where on your deathbed, we'll pour beers into your ass. But you can't do it.
You can't do it yourself.
Patent pending.
Also, a little known fact about TABC is that the director is Ryan Johnson.
That's war. It's war now. Ryan Johnson, fuck you, you fucking dick.
What else? What else we got?
We can say how we felt about Py Jingo after.
And this one. Can we talk about this one too?
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. What do you like?
What do you want to talk about? It's an IPA with mango in it.
Joel summed up my last one pretty well.
Which one?
I like it.
So good, man! I really love this beer. I think that's pretty much what it sounded like.
Is that your impression of Joel doing an impression of you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
I think I missed that podcast.
Yeah.
You said you don't remember it. So.
Anyway,
I like this. So
which one?
When we had Zombie Dragon at
this one.
Cool Guys Hangout, I didn't care for it. I don't even think I finished it.
No, yeah, you didn't like it.
And it was actually out of all the ones.
And you mentioned it the next day at Live Oak that you didn't like it, but you didn't name names.
You are an IPA drinker.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is different. This is way different than just your normal IPA.
I've never had Zombie Dragon, so I don't know. But Zombie Dragon mango is actually quite pleasant.
So, that's what I was going to say. So at Cool Guys Hangout, I couldn't finish one. And then I noticed out of all, we had Red Zeppelin 2, and then we had Zombie Dragon. Red Zeppelin went pretty quickly.
Let's just be honest. We bought a lot of beer that weekend, and a lot of it did not get drank.
Yes.
And so
it's still around.
A lot of it is in my fridge right now.
Yeah.
Some of it
Joel's
is
fridge.
in mine.
Anyway.
My fridge still, yeah. So Zombie Dragon, when we had the North by Northwest podcast, which was after Cool Guys Hangout.
Yeah, you liked it.
Well, was forced to drink it because everyone else drank the Red Zeppelin, which tells you where we're leaning towards us, right? Mm-hmm. What I like about this is that it takes the edge off of Zombie Dragon perfectly with the mango flavor.
Yeah.
The mango flavor makes it amazing. And I don't like fruity beers generally, but this is just enough mango and it takes the edge off where it's like, you can almost like chug this. Like it's kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
Now.
But could you butt chug it?
That is the question.
I could absolutely butt chug this beer.
Still talking about butt chugging?
All right. So Clint,
you're not familiar with this podcast clearly because when we find a subject worth talking about, we talk about it pretty extensively.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is why our IPA would be called Dead Horse IPA.
nothing beats a dead horse.
Yeah.
All right, what am I talking about? This beer
This
or
beer.
the
Whatever you like, man. Snap it up. Make
or
it snappy.
the Django Fett.
All right.
Anyway, skip. Go.
Oh, okay.
Tag.
You're skipping out. All right.
No,
I
mean, what do you want? The first beer.
You liked them both.
Yeah, they were good. They were good.
The ones.
They weren't overly hoppy for
Yeah.
me, so I appreciate that. The mango cuts out any of like that hard hop flavor that you typically get on an IPA, so
the
that makes it drinkable. I imagine though that this would end up like if I had to drink 3 cans, just 3 12-ounce cans of the mango.
Be a lot like the Fresh Coast, where the hops would linger.
That hops at the end would probably start hitting me in the face, and I'd be like, I can drink 1, but not 3, kind of deal.
Okay.
Well, that's
my flavor profile, so
yeah,
you can't do anything about that.
Yeah, I like the Py Jingo Fett. It was it wasn't overly hoppy. It wasn't an IPA. It was just a pale ale. It was pretty nice. I could drink a few of them. And the mango Zombie Dragon is a really nice take on the Zombie Dragon. I really like the mango in it. Just like Clint was saying, it kind of takes a little bit of the harshness out of the upfront hops. And so it's got that mango there. And I'm just a fan of mangoes anytime. So, yeah, cool. It's definitely a 1 for me.
Thanks, man.
Sweet.
I liked them both.
Oh, yeah.
Py Jingo Unchained was
that's the Japanese version of Jingo.
It was really good. So it was well balanced for a pale ale. It's
like coriander was really good.
The pine notes, a little bit of citrusy. It's like it was really good.
Yeah, Cutter's reading off a can right now.
It's like hiking, swimming, fishing, hunting, swimming. Yeah, it's all good.
Something about butt chugging.
Yeah, butt chugging. No, it was really good. The Zombie Dragon with the mango, I felt that really, really balanced out. The mango really balanced out the Zombie Dragon. So it was fantastic. This is something that
it's juicier now, I think. Yeah.
The
More
Zombie Dragon's pretty juicy as it is, but this one with the mango, it's all like it's stupid good is what I would say.
Oh God, you stupid.
Stupid
How
good.
nice.
I have a question. It's almost like now that I'm getting to it a little bit further down, it's like the mimosa. It's almost like I'm not a champagne person. So when you mix that with orange juice, I'm like, all right, that's pretty good.
Beer mosa.
Seem like a champagne person.
Breast
Thank
monkey.
you.
Would you have
That
another
funky
one?
monkey.
Would you be like, please, sir, may I have mimosa?
Yeah.
Mimosa.
Mimosa.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome. Yeah. I think it has that flavor that covers, because I guess that's what Ross was saying too.
Yeah. It's a nice addition.
Yeah.
It's already got the tropical and the little fruity notes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the mango just complements it perfectly.
Just so I can get it out there. Life of Py Jingo.
There we go.
Nice.
And on that note,
it was very nice. We've had a great time with Virginia and Matt from the Beer Museum. And listeners, go ahead and check them out at thebeermuseum.com. Find them on Instagram, Facebook, wherever they are. Are you on Twitter as well? Yeah. Okay. I'm sure you got to be.
Supposedly.
I mean,
Matt's in charge of
You got to have a YouTube
Twitch.
channel too. No. Twitch.
Are you on Twitch?
We're on MySpace.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Go find them. Go find them on MySpace.
Yeah.
Shout out
MySpace
to
with
Tom.
Hardy.
Are we on MySpace?
We're not on
We should be on
We are
MySpace.
not currently on MySpace. They have not approved us yet.
Zanga?
But
Anybody?
oh man, Live Journal.
Zanga Unchained. Bye,
Zanga.
Zanga.
Bye, Zanga.
Thanks everybody for listening, and hit us up on our Patreon if you like what we do. Just donate a couple bucks. We got some stuff on there for people who donate. So yeah, this is Ross.
Clint. That's Joel.
This is Cutter.
And we've been joined by special guests.
Matt.
Virginia.
Of the Beer Museum.
And this is the podcast.
This is the podcast.
3 Beers In is a proud member of the Hopped Up Network. Thanks for sticking around. You can subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, Google Play, TuneIn, and on the hoppedupnetwork.com. If you like what you heard, rate and review us on iTunes. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at 3 Beers In Podcast, and check out our website, 3beersinpodcast.com. 3 beersinpodcast.com. You can find information about us and the show along with the links to all of our episodes and our really cool merchandise. While you're on our site, you can tell us what you like, what you don't like. And if you don't like us, then why the hell are you still here? You should have turned us off long ago. But if you're just going to listen to us anyway, then you should probably subscribe too. And if you would like a transcript of our podcast, write down everything that we just said.
If you are looking for more beer podcasts just like the one you're listening to right now, then head on over to hoppedupnetwork.com. We are a podcast network focused on our local craft beer communities. Here's a quick example of one of the many podcasts you will find.
I'm Caroline King.
And I'm Ashley Powers.
And we are the hosts of Bitch Beer.
Every other Tuesday, we feature the women who brew, market, distribute, serve, and love beer in the hopes that their stories will inspire the women and men who haven't taken the plunge.
We want to dispel the myth that craft beer is scary.
We're here to prove that the days of being ridiculed for drinking bitch beer are over.
Any beer can be bitch beer. Beer doesn't care who's drinking it.
You can find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and right here on the Hopped Up Network.
Cheers!